Good evening. This is Business Day right here on ET Now with me, Avan Dabash. A quick glance as to how the markets panned out this Thursday before we take you through the top headlines. Well, on the back of negative global cues, it was a fairly dismal day of trade for the equity markets. Backed by fairly high volumes and ahead of the expiry next week, rollovers were fairly high. The market breadth was clearly in favor of the losing side, and the broader markets too were in tandem with the benchmark indices. 59.16 is where we shut shop on the Nifty, for the Sensex off by 22 points, so there was a mild amount of recovery by the end of the day, and we closed at 19,453. Lots of stories from corporate India. We keep you up to speed with them after the top headlines. Modi puts himself firmly on the Delhi track with a thumping victory in Gujarat. BJP is heading for its best ever performance in Gujarat, even as the Congress steals the show in Himachal Pradesh. The insider trading case involving Reliance Petroleum enters a crucial stage. SEBI issues a show cause notice to Reliance Industries, and sources tell ET Now that this could be a precursor to the final order. Vodafone becomes the first telco to seek an extension for its 2G license, which is set to expire soon. In a letter to the telecom department, the British telco says the license conditions don't allow the government to take back the 900 MHz spectrum. The battle over the fiscal cliff shifts to the floor of the House. President Barack Obama threatens to veto the Republicans' proposal, popularly known as Plan B, to avert the steep tax hikes and budget cuts set for January. Well, it was markets under pressure for the entire day, and we ended up in the red, but there was a marginal recovery nonetheless. You had the broader markets too, which didn't show you any amount of activity, and they were largely in tandem with the way the benchmark indices panned out, so off by 0.3 and 0.2% respectively for the small and the mid-cap index, which were the sectoral mover as well. For a large part of the day, everything was in the red, but it was led largely by the auto as well as the consumer durable space. But by the end of the day, there was a marginal amount of buying activity, which you witnessed in the metals pack as well as the technology sector, which both ended in the green. Some of the big index losers, it was clearly not cement's day. You had Ambuja Cements, which was down by close to 3%, and the entire cement pack really following suit. Apart from that, Sun Pharma, BPCL was fairly weak on the charts, and Jaiprakash Associates shaved off close to 2%. Some stocks in focus today on account of the Gujarat elections. There was quite a bit of a rub-off effect on these Gujarat-based stocks. The entire Adani group snapped their rally, so Adani Enterprises, Adani Ports, Adani Power, all of them were down and out today. Apart from that, you had Torrent Power, which, remember, over the last 4 days has been rallying. That counter was too, down by close to 2%. And you had something like a Syntex Industries, which declined also after days of strong gains. And this was also, some of the gains in these counters, though, that you saw was very mild and supported by volume activity. Apart from that, Gujarat Apollo was in focus. Remember, we did an exclusive story on the same, and it was confirmed that Aman will be buying 70% in the road construction business of Gujarat Apollo, and it's a Swiss-based firm, and the road business is worth close to 400 crore rupees versus a market cap of 225 crores. So that's great news for Gujarat Apollo, and the counter rallied very smartly in today's session. BGR Energy too got a good boost from an NTPC order for NOA of turbine generators in Chhattisgarh. NOA is the notification of award, and the award is valued at 1,548 crore rupees. Opto Circuits too was in the limelight on the upside as $2 million convertible warrants exchanged at 145. It issued that at 145 rupees per share to the promoters. On the downside, though, Karnataka Bank looked a bit weak. It was off by close to 4% by the day's close, as reports that SEBI is probing some of the recent activity in the share price. So 168 is where the counter shut shop. GMR Infra, though, it's been a good day for it as it commissioned 2 road projects in Andhra Pradesh, which will generate a revenue of close to 75 to 80 lakh rupees per day. MCX also by the end of this day saw a good spurt in the buying activity. Remember, it has received the commencement certificate from the SEBI to go live for some new product segments. Index gainers included JSPL, Hindalco, so the metal stocks continued to rally. You had a Unilever which was also up, as well as the Tata Steel. Most of the brokerages are turning turning fairly bullish on the metals pack, and there's been a good recovery in the global metal prices as well. Well, on that note, let's get in some market voices and find out what the road ahead is for the equity market, starting off with Sanjeev Prasad of Kotak, who believes that the Nifty will not slip below the crucial 5,000 level.
If we continue seeing the right things being done by the government, we have had a modest start to reforms. If that continues, again, foreign investment sentiment will be positive. Rating agencies will have a more benign view of India. You won't see a ratings downgrades. I doubt, we are going to see the market collapsing to about 5,000. I mean, we are a long way from there. So if there is any correction, it's going to be probably a mild one, somewhere about maybe 10-ish percentage points, not more than that, I would think.
The kind of environment we should have, I think, is a kind of environment in which direct investors, corporations come to India, and portfolio flows piggyback on the increasing integration of India into the global economy. Things are heading towards lower rates as a baseline scenario, but there are important risks which may well stay the RBI's hand or slow down the easing process.
Well, a week ahead of expiry, let's find out how the F&O activity shaped up for today, given that it was fairly disappointing for the benchmark indices. Navneet Saluja is with us from our research desk. Navneet.
Well, Avan, it was a day of profit booking, but still the Nifty December futures managed to close above that 5,900 mark. Remember, they opened below 5,900. Well, the closing came at about 5,923 with about 7 points premium to the spot Nifty. If you look at the premium, that has contracted today from yesterday's 27 points. And during the day, we saw built up of about 9.6 lakh shares for the Nifty December futures. On the option side, you had the Nifty PCR by the end of the day at about 1.07. It was a day of call writing. If you look at strikes like 6,000 call, that added about over 9 lakh shares. You had 5,900 call strike, which added about 5.5 lakh shares. And on the put side, you had 5,800 and 5,900 strikes, which added maximum open interest by the end of the day. So the range for the Nifty remains at about 5,800 to 6,000, where the resistance lies. And if you look at the stock futures, well, clearly it was the day of metal stocks. If you look at counters like Jindal Steel and Power, Hindalco, Tata Steel, all these counters witnessed fresh long positions during the day. You also had HUL and TCS from the Nifty counters, which witnessed fresh long positions. On the short side, you had Ambuja Cement and BPCL, which were in the red territory today. And, well, clearly it was the Adani pack, Adani Power, Adani Enterprises and Adani Port. All these three counters witnessed profit booking in today's trading session. Remember, these counters had been going up since the last 2 to 3 trading session. And also you had Opto Circuits, Idea and Financial Technologies, which did well for themselves in today's trading session. On the participation side, the volume was pretty good. You had turnover of about 1.7 lakh crore on NSE by the end of the day.
Thanks very much, Navneet, for giving us that perspective. So volumes were fairly high in today's session, and there was quite a bit of profit booking that was witnessed. But the big story for today was the Gujarat elections, where Gujarat Chief Minister Narendra Modi put himself firmly on the Delhi track. He's heading for a landslide victory in Gujarat, and the BJP is heading for its best ever performance by winning over 120 seats. Now, this has firmed up the chances of being BJP's prime ministerial candidate for 2014 for Narendra Modi. The Congress, in the meantime, bagged over 55 seats, and celebrations have already begun across the state. Let's go across to our policy editor, Supriya Srinath, who joins in for more details. Supriya, it's Modi who's all set to be the Chief Minister again.
Oh, absolutely. This is a hat-trick for the Gujarat Chief Minister, the tall leader from there. The question really is a natural progression to New Delhi follow next? I mean, that is really the big question. 120 seats. And just to remind our viewers here, this is his second best performance. His best was in 2002 when he scored 126 in Gujarat, 117 in the present assembly, and now, of course, 120 in the third term. The question really is, will the senior BJP leadership here in New Delhi pull the man all the way to Delhi? Can he now stake claim to the top job? All figures and all statistics point that he will and he must. But, whether it will divide the NDA, whether this will disrupt the NDA, whether there will be fewer pre-poll alliances, what does the RSS have to think about this? Who will they vote in favor of? I mean, those are questions that still remain to be answered. But for the man who scored 120 seats for a third term, I don't think there's any stopping Narendra Modi right now to stake claim in New Delhi. Also, just to remind our viewers here, the BJP internally has a huge leadership lacuna. And who better than the man who's shown a winning record to come and claim that lacuna, and which is perhaps why Narendra Modi could well be their top candidate. How it goes was done well with the NDA alliance is something the BJP will have to speak to its partners about. But the debate also squarely focuses on the Congress. The Congress has to do some serious thinking because in Gujarat, it is the urban votes that have gone completely in favor of Narendra Modi. The rural votes have gone in favor of the Congress, which essentially means that the middle class continues to desert the Congress party. And does the Grand Old Party really have a plan to woo the middle class voters back? I mean, that is the other big question. But if you turn the focus then to Himachal Pradesh, and which was a very high political voltage campaign, and everybody was talking about corruption in this campaign, the Congress has come back with an absolute majority. So there was anti-incumbency, but it does raise another question. I mean, do issues like corruption and do issues like those, or for that matter, Veerbhadra Singh has had to resign from his post, do issues like that really center and figure on the 140-character Twitter world, or does this really resonate in real politics? If you look at the Himachal Pradesh Assembly elections, it perhaps does not. So many questions being raised, but I don't think there's any stopping Modi right now. How will the central leadership take to it? How will they respond to it? There has been no emphatic word still from the BJP that yes, Modi is the prime ministerial candidate, but factions wouldn't believe. How will you stop a man who scored a hat-trick and with numbers on the board as much as 120? This is not as euphoric as the exit poll said, which was about 140 to 150, but 120 by no stretch of imagination is a low number.
Congress has been decimated again since 1995 by the BJP consistently and under Narendra Bhai leadership for the third time. And even the vote share have increased. This is a very powerful result. This only confirms once again that Congress party was never serious about Gujarat in terms of fighting it.
Hard work of our Karyakartas and Narendra Modi's leadership which has enabled us to get this sort of a victory. Well, that only shows the total disconnect between the Congress leader and the ground reality, that they do not know what is happening at ground.
बहुसंख्यक लोगों ने, जिसमें अल्पसंख्यक भी हैं, उन लोगों ने तय किया है कि गुजरात में एक अच्छी सरकार चल रही है, विकास उन्मुख सरकार चल रही है और उसको हम दोबारा मौका देंगे और ये परिणाम हमारे लिए संतोषजनक है और हर्ष का विषय है.
It is important to analyze. We can hardly consider this a victory because it is not. We've obviously been disappointed, but let us analyze what strong indications we've got from this election. I believe that there are a lot of important indications that should worry Mr. Modi if he has any ability to worry.
Who says that it's a victory for the Congress? Did anybody say it's a victory for the Congress? And so we're not, we're unhappy at the fact that we haven't bounced back, and obviously things need to be done.
Okay, that's the latest coming in on the Gujarat elections. Many thanks, Supriya, for those details. So Narendra Modi clearly on the firm track. The Securities and Exchange Board of India has issued a show cause notice to Reliance Industries in the insider trading case in the Reliance Petroleum shares. The Bombay High Court will hear a SEBI petition that challenges Central Information Commission's order to disclose the details of that case in Reliance Petroleum in 2007. Let's get in Vijay Iyer, who now joins us on the phone line with exclusive details on the same. Walk us through what your sources are indicating from SEBI, Vijay, as well as what Reliance Industries' responses to the same.
Yeah. Firstly, if I could just quickly update on what happened in the court deliberations today. Reliance Industries, which had made party to the case between market regulator SEBI and CIC, that is Chief Information Commission, has sought more time to file a reply by January 14th, and Bombay High Court will hear the case now on January 21st. Now, having said that, sources have indicated to us that SEBI is moving, has completed the investigation which has been going on for more than 4 years now, and has issued Reliance Industries a fresh show cause notice as late as in the month of November. And now Reliance Industries will be given a final hearing before SEBI could pass an order. So this would in itself be a huge development, because this case has been pending, and the investigations have been going on for more than 4 years, with the case dating back to 2007 of RIL Industries merging Reliance Petroleum with itself. So in that sense, SEBI has expedited the whole investigation process. So it will be interesting to see, on one hand, investigations being expedited, and on the other hand, now what will happen when the matter is heard, when RIL is made a party to this case on January 21st in Bombay High Court.
Thanks very much, Vijay, for walking us through that case as well as what the latest update is on the same. Moving on then, Power Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia will meet Coal Minister Shri Prakash Jaiswal tomorrow to discuss the fuel supply and linkage hurdles and the resolution of the FSAs. Let's get in Nithya Balakrishnan, who now joins in from New Delhi, to tell us what exactly we can expect from this meeting. Nithya, what's on the agenda?
Well, all this while, it's been a secretary-level meeting with the Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister, Pulak Chatterjee, when it comes to issues between power and coal companies. But clearly, it's going to be the first time that Power Minister Scindia calls upon his coal counterpart. We're given to understand last-minute FSAs issues will be high on the agenda. Remember, MOUs with power companies when it comes to supply of coal stands to expire on the 31st of December. 40-odd FSAs still to be signed. So they need to resolve these issues in order for power companies to get any kind of fuel going ahead. Now, as far as the coal ministry is concerned, it also wants the methodology for pooling of imported as well as domestic coal prices on the table. It has to prepare the CCEA note very shortly. It wants to discuss this with Jyotiraditya Scindia and his team. Now, as far as the power ministry is concerned, NTPC will be top of that priority. Linkage to NTPC's North Karanpura project as well as reallocation of 3 of NTPC's blocks will be sought by the power ministry, is what sources tell ET now. Now, clearly with 9.52% stake up for grabs in NTPC weeks from now, they want to ensure that investor sentiment into this issue is absolutely robust. So crucial issues to be discussed between coal and power ministries at around 4 p.m. tomorrow, and a probable extension of the December 31st expiry when it comes to MOUs with power companies.
Thanks very much, Nithya, for giving us all of those details. Now, in its recent report, the CAG charges NMDC of a revenue loss of close to 746 crores between the years 2007 and 2010 due to lower iron ore pricing. The CAG report also says that NMDC passed a 601 crore benefit to companies during 2010 and 11 by extending unwarranted reduction in prices. Now, this could be bad news for steel majors like JSW Steel and SR Steel, who do not have captive mines and depend on NMDC for feedstock. The stock price also of NMDC was down in today's session. Straight to the telecom space, and British telecom giant Vodafone has become the first telco to seek an extension of license under the current license agreement, a move that clearly challenges the EGON's decision, which had asked telcos to buy spectrum in auction and not renew licenses. Let's get in Gauri Dwivedi, who now joins in for more details. Gauri, what exactly does this mean?
Awan, what it really means is that Vodafone has written to the Department of Telecom saying that the 3 licenses in Delhi, Mumbai and Kolkata that come up for renewal that actually expire in November 2014 should be extended, because that is really what the license agreement says, that unless and until something drastic changes as far as the license agreement is concerned, it is valid, it should be extended, which is what Vodafone has said, that as per clause 4, there is no reason of the license agreement, there is no reason why the licenses should not be extended in these 3 circles. Now, why are we talking about these 3 circles? Delhi, Mumbai and Kolkata are the 3 circles where auctions in the 900 megahertz band will take place early next year. The government has made it absolutely clear that telecom companies whose licenses expire will have to participate in the auctions to buy spectrum. Licenses will not be extended as was being done till now, and that's of course something that Vodafone is challenging. It's quite clear that the next move could be litigation, given the fact that Department of Telecom can do really limited in this manner because it's an EGOM decision. They will have to abide by that. The ministerial panel has taken a call, so we expect litigation going forward, given that Vodafone has clearly challenged the ministerial panel's decision as far as extension of licenses is concerned.
Okay, thanks very much, Gauri, for giving us all of those details. So litigation is really expected now going forward. To the banking arena then, and today over 7 lakh PSU bank employees across the country went on strike to protest the implications of some of the amendments in the Banking Act. Let's get in Anirudh Ghosh, who joins in with a ground report. Anirudh.
Well, yes, I'm standing outside the State Bank of India branch, normally a branch bustling with activity at this point of time in the day, but then given the fact that there is a strike, a lot of the retail operations have been stalled. Of course, the ATMs are open. ATMs have been refilled with a little more cash than normally is done to ensure that there is enough cash for the citizens as and when they need it. But then the fact is that a number of retail operations have been stalled, a number of checks may get stuck in clearing, and of course all other operations that the bank carries out through its staff on the ground have been stalled. Now, of course, the reason why close to 7 lakh employees across the country are on strike is basically to kind of protest against the implications of the banking amendment bill being passed by the parliament. They of course are against the fact that public sector banks are now going to attract more foreign investment. They're also against the fact that corporates could be allowed to enter the banking space. So these are the two main bones of contention. Also, of course, they're concerned about the fact that there hasn't been too much recruitment as far as public sector banks are concerned. They want more job creation and they want better pay structures as far as the PSU bank structure is concerned. So clearly, these are the main points of contention of these PSU banks. But then, of course, if you look at the major, the major implication of this strike, it really seems to be losing its relevance as time goes on, because of the simple reason that a lot of operations have been automated. A lot of operations are also carried out by private sector banks. So clearly, given the fact that there is a viable private sector alternative and a lot of things can be done over the internet through automated channels, really seems to kind of be taking the sting out of all these strikes that have been happening at a very high frequency of late.
Thanks very much, Anirudh, for keeping us up to speed with that ground report. Let's take it straight to the news across the globe. Now, the fiscal cliff resolution seems out of sight as talks appeared to stall between the two U.S. parties. U.S. President Barack Obama accused Republicans of digging their heels due to a personal grudge against him. Obama told Republicans to stop worrying about scoring a point against the president or forcing him into concessions just for the heck of it. The rise in tensions threatens to unravel significant progress which has been made over the last week in the so-called fiscal cliff talks. Boehner's office slammed Obama for opposing their plan, which would raise taxes on households making more than $1 million a year. If a deal is not reached soon, some $600 billion in tax hikes and spending cuts are set to begin next month.
I'm often reminded when I speak to the Republican leadership that the majority of their caucus's membership come from districts that I lost. And so sometimes they may not see an incentive in cooperating with me, but right now what the country needs is for us to compromise, get a deficit reduction deal in place, make sure middle-class taxes don't go up, make sure that we're laying the foundations for growth, give certainty to businesses large and small, not put ourselves through some sort of self-inflicted crisis every 6 months.
Meantime, the World Bank has raised its growth forecast for China. It says that stimulus measures and approval of infrastructure projects will help give a good boost to the world's second largest economy. The bank says it now expects the Chinese economy to grow by 8.4% in 2013. That's up from the earlier projection of 8.1%. It added that the pickup in factory output and investment suggested that China's economy was bottoming out. The bank also raised its forecast for the developing East Asia region, excluding China. That brings us to an end of this edition of Business Day. Thanks so much for watching. Keep it with ET Now.